3 reasons talented designers fail. And I've been so excited about this topic because, well, I don't want to spoil it because we're going to get into it right now. So why don't you start off by introducing our topic and sharing with all of our watchers what's going on?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So 3 reasons talented designers fail. The experience can be, right? We've all seen it. And this has been so close. This is why we're talking about it today. Super talented, creative designers that it seems that from the start of their professional career, they have just been ordained, or there's some some magic that has just happened, right? The cosmos came together. They decided to be a professional, to step out in the world, and boom, they are featured in a show, or they're selected for show homes. They are featured on the cover of magazines. Sometimes they then have guest spots on television, or they're highlighted in a TV show. And it just seems like, of course, this is going to be like, it's so good because they've gotten to the top from the very beginning. And because we've done this long enough and we've talked to hundreds of designers at this point, we've connected with super talented designers who have this experience, and then 3 years into the future, they are not on top anymore. They are working for someone else. Their business has folded. Maybe they still have their business, but they're designing on the side for other designers. They don't have their own clients or their own list or roster of clients. And they're just sort of stuck and wondering, like, what happened? How did this happen?
Yeah, it's such a great idea to discuss because, I mean, we would kind of call these people flash in the pans, right? We see them all the time in pop culture where somebody gets like meteoric rise to fame, seemingly out of nowhere. And then 2 months later, it's like you never hear from them again. And the thing is that what's a shame about this is that if you are by some, luck or chance or skill, whatever it might be, one of the ordained, right? What a blessing, because a lot of designers work in obscurity for years and years and years before they get that kind of a break. So especially for designers who are out of the gate just get white hot all of a sudden, it's such a shame to not see them be able to transition that heat into a full, lifelong career. Yes. Where it persists and their reputation just builds and builds and builds, and it even grows, and they become, not just more famous necessarily, but actually, like, we're talking about people who are able to be famous briefly who can't make a living doing design.
Yes.
And it's just a shame. Like, maybe we all want to be famous and that would be great, but ultimately most of us just want to pay the rent. We want to pay the mortgage at the end of the day. That's the basics that we've got to tackle. So what we're talking about is sometimes people who are white hot, globally known, but they can't pay the rent. And this is just such a shame. So let's talk about that further, Nona. I mean, we're talking about the 3 reasons that this happens. What's the first reason, and how can we avoid this?
Absolutely, because designers don't quit. Designers don't retire. They die. Meaning that, like, being super talented, being an interior designer, professional interior designer, that doesn't go away. Right? So so what are the 3 reasons, right? Let's go with the first, which is that super talented designers who make a big impression and then seem to fade, one of the first issues that they have is that they rely too much on their creativity. They really felt like it was their creativity, it was their talent that got them to where they were, on the top of the mountain. And the natural instinct is, well, then that's how I'm going to stay here, is through my creativity. But that creativity, that feeling ends up working against them because that's not what's necessary to have a business, to sustain. It's enough to get to where they are, but it's not enough to stay there or to continue.
Yeah, it's so true. And you can see it in all walks of life. But sticking with designers, have you ever, if you're a very talented designer, and I hope you are, but if you're a very talented designer and you have a colleague, maybe even a friend, who you think is less talented than you, but their business is doing much better,
Oh, it's the worst.
You're experiencing this phenomenon,
Yeah.
which is that success in your design business is not so much about your design talent as it is your dedication, your discipline to do the business the way it needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And this is so hard for creative people of all types to understand that, sometimes, you do get featured, things go your way, you get a major magazine promo, all kinds of things like that. And all of a sudden you're just white hot and the world's your oyster, it seems like. And so for maybe 6 months, a year, 2 years, you eat off that one article or that one TV exposure, whatever it might be, but that fades eventually. And what happens is that, if you haven't been marketing the whole time, if you haven't been continuing to drive that momentum, then it just dies down.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else waiting in the wings. And then all of a sudden you're back to square one, as though you'd never started in the first place. So, what we talk about is the challenge that being talented is so great, right? I mean, we would never want to take away anyone's talent. But when you're so talented that you're able to rely on that, then you tend to fall back on that because it's your strength. Mm-hmm. And that's where you get into trouble. So tell us a little more about that, Nona. Like, what does that mean to fall back on your design talent when the chips are down?
Well, there's that instinct that the talent that got them, that everything's going to just work out the way that it initially did. That things will fall into place naturally. So there's no need to do marketing. There's no need to set up a structure because the clients are just going to keep reaching out. The designer doesn't have to put themselves out there because people are just attracted to them. And it stops. I mean, to your point, it just stops. And there are fewer things that are more painful than to be at the peak and to know what that feels like and to be the darling and to get all the attention. And then all of a sudden it just stops. And because the creativity was what they relied on, the talent, there's that feeling of like, well, what happened? Because they're still talented. These designers are still talented. So it's not like that disappeared. It's just that it's not enough. And and that's not for everyone, right? Because some are super talented. They get to the top and they're like, okay, I know I need to do more. And this is the second reason. So they have the awareness, they've moved past it. They know that just being talented isn't going to get them to where they want to be, right? They know that there are extra steps. So the number two reason that they fail is they think that they can do it all themselves. So they're super talented, super creative. They know what to do. Lord knows there are enough podcasts and blog posts and and people out there telling interior designers what to do to have a successful interior design business. So they think, okay, great. Then I will just do it. I'll just do it all. But here's the issue. You're super talented at interior design. It doesn't mean you're super talented at accounting or marketing or running a team or, right? Like any of the details, any of the items, the systems needed in order to be successful, to have a sustainable business that lasts for as long as you want to design. You can't do it yourself. No, like there's no amount of talent, there's no amount of creativity that is going to take someone who's really good at design and they're going to be good at everything else too.
Yeah, absolutely. The running a successful business requires a totally different set of skills. And what hurts us to see is designers who know that they have a gap. Like they don't know how to market themselves. They don't know how to market their services. Well, that's what we know how to do, right? And if you have an accountant, you've already solved this problem. But accountants, there's even accountants out there for interior designers. They know the business so well that they specifically do accounting only for interior designers. So imagine what having someone like that in your business is going to do. For one thing, it means you never have to do your accounting again, right? So someone else that's taken care of. But what that frees you to do then is to do what you need to do in the business to make it work. Whether that's more marketing, whether that's networking, whether that's doing a show home that you now have time to do because they're time intensive, they take a lot of work, right? getting PR, getting featured in publications. All those things take time. So if you're able to free up that time, now you can do more of those things that are so important, don't you think, Nona?
Well, yes, absolutely. And so you're super talented designer, right? You want to have a business where you continue to be your own boss, where you have your own clients, where you determine how much vacation time you take, whether or not you're going to go to Greece for 2 weeks or not next summer, right? All those details. If you take on the idea of being your own bookkeeper, the idea of being your own, so your bookkeeper, your PR, your marketing, your
office manager, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all those details, right? You take that on, okay, great, but now you don't have time to actually design. The thing that makes your business unique about you is your talent. And if you are putting that energy, putting that time into trying to figure out, like, I'm sorry, I just think of trying to do bookkeeping. I just think of like, whose money is, like, what money is mine? What money is my client? Trying to keep track of all of those details, which are really, really important. Well, then, yeah, you're not going to have the creativity to then let shine. You're not going to have the systems in place to attract more clients. You know, one of my favorite people, she's a designer, and we were talking recently about her own business, and this is what she described to me, that she's been in the business for 15, 20 years now. And when she starts to think about her business, she knows she needs to hire someone else when she feels her shoulders raise. The idea of taking anything on, anything that's necessary to grow, to expand her team, to attract the right kinds of clients, if she starts to feel this way about it, she knows, oh, that's not for me. And as soon as she hires a professional who's totally dedicated in that one arena that's specific to interior design businesses, her shoulders drop. She says, she takes a deep breath, and then she gets to do what she loves.
Rolls it out, right? Totally.
Yeah.
That's a powerful statement, because most of us don't pay this close attention to our bodies, but your bodies usually tell you what you're feeling and what you're thinking. So if you find yourself cringing, whether it's really physically cringing or more confident when you think about doing something, like for a lot of people, it's marketing. They're like, yeah, it's just like that reaction. If I go into a room of designers, I'm like, hey, marketing. That's all I say. A bunch of them are going to cringe right like that, and their shoulders are going to go up, and they're going to, and it's just because it's something that a lot of people have a complex about. They don't understand it. They don't know what to do. It sounds like, maybe is it salesy? Do I have to hustle and try and rob people, or what is it I'm supposed to be doing? I don't like it, So it's a natural response. If you feel yourself like that, then that's a real sure sign that you want to think about getting some help with your marketing. If you do that listen, the first week you open your business, you may not be able to do this. The very, very beginning of your business, you have to wear a lot of hats. It's just the way it goes. But what we're saying is, as soon as it's even possible, and probably even before you think it's right or possible, you need to start outsourcing the struggle.
Yeah.
As soon as you can. And it's always before you think you're ready. It's always, you're like, well, I just need to make a little bit more money, or just get this one check in, and then just do it the minute it occurs to you. Like, gee, my life would be a lot better if I had an accountant. That's the time.
My life would be better if I had a receiver.
Get a receiver. It's time.
Yeah, find them. Do it.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah, it's time, because trying to do it all yourself, that's how talented designers end up failing.
Yeah, and of course, then you experience burnout, because there's just so much to do, and you're doing to do 10 jobs.
Yeah, and that's a key, what you just said. They end up creating jobs for themselves instead of having a business.
Yeah.
And with wearing so many hats, I don't want that job.
No, you don't want that job. I mean, when we start our business, we're all the chief cook and bottle washer. But as soon as you can stop washing those bottles, that's when you...
Dude, pass it on.
Pass it on. So what's the third reason? So, I mean, just to go over real quick, the two reasons: relying too much on your talent. So basically saying talent's all I need. Just being uber talented is all I need to get successful. Number two is
stay successful.
Number two is kind of like the opposite of that, which is then taking too much responsibility, saying that you're the only one who could do anything. And this is a recipe for burnout, for overwork, for fatigue, for working 7 days a week, clients texting you at all times of day and night, is no bueno.
Yeah,
so what's the third reason?
The third is many designers know what they want. They want whole home remodels. They want to work 4 days a week. They want to take vacation. They want to make enough so that they can have a voice and a choice in their life with their families, right? Like they have this idea of what they want, but they have not decided on what they're going to get.
That's so powerful. I want to just also say that 100% of the designers I've ever talked to want to have a 6-figure business. Unless they have a 7-figure business and then they want an 8-figure business. But everybody else who doesn't have a 6-figure business wants a 6-figure business. It's very, very easy. It's a natural thing to want these things. But tell us what you mean about deciding to get it, because that's a totally different idea.
So, I've talked to designers, and what they want are affluent clients with vacation homes, so that they're out of town. They make, they just make decisions and then trust the designer. They treat the designer with respect, and that they then refer them to all their friends and family. That's what they want, right? This very small but important line that they need to cross is to decide on what they're going to do, or what's necessary in order to get what they want. So a lot of designers have this desire, but then when it comes to crossing that line and deciding that they're going to get it, they still fall back in the idea like, well, but I don't want to do that. What I want is for people to just naturally reach out to me. What I want is for people to recognize me as a designer and as a person and just treat me that way. But they haven't decided to do what's necessary to achieve that. And that's the difference. I mean, you know what? I'll just be blunt. That is the difference. A lot of people want something. A lot of designers want something. Very few are going to take action to get and do what's necessary to get it.
And let's just use an analogy. Let's just use weight loss. So let's just say that you're 30 pounds overweight. You know you're overweight. You're tired of carrying this weight around, right? Everyone who's 30 pounds overweight wants to lose 30 pounds, right? 100% of the people. There's very, very few people who are like, I don't want to lose weight. That's okay. I'm happy with the way I am. There's all kinds of reasons why they want to do that. But it's not until you make the decision that it's time to actually do what's necessary to lose those 30 pounds that the pounds start to come off, right? Because then you realize that it's going to be changes in behavior. You're going to have to do different things. You're going to have to eat different things. Maybe you're going to need accountability, like you hire a coach or you hire a personal trainer because you have to exercise. So it's like all those things, until you make the decision, it doesn't really matter what you want. Those pounds are not coming off. And it's exactly the same thing in business. It seems like it's so hard to get to 6 figures. If you're just starting out, if you've been struggling to make a decent living every year for 10 years, it just seems like it's so hard. But actually it's not. What's hard is actually making the decision to make the changes necessary to get you where you want to go. Because if you've been taught, whether you were, blessed by people at the beginning thinking you were a superstar and you were elevated to this position of prominence and you were on all the magazine covers and the world wined and dined you for 6 months and then forgot about you, or you've been toiling in obscurity for 20 years, either way, once you make the decision that you're going to have your own 6-figure practice, that's when it starts happening. But only when you decide. And Nona, why is that so hard for people to do? What do you think?
I think there's a combination, but one of them is the idea people get overwhelmed with like, well, what is it that's actually I'm going to have to do in order to reach my goal? And they really focus on all of that. They like think of all of it in front of them. And when you have all these different pieces and you're staring at them and you're obsessing about them or thinking like, oh, I have to make all these changes, yeah, it's too much. I mean, to your point, it's like the idea of weight loss. It's making total like eating differently, moving more, changing habits, or just all these things, right? That's so buying new workout outfits, right?
Right.
Like all of it. Whereas the first, instead of focusing on all of that, when you just decide, I'm going to do this, you own it. You own it. Like, I have made this decision. And now my trainer tells me that like my nutritionist has created this new meal plan. I'm going to do that because I've decided to. No one else is going to do it for me because it doesn't exist. And I want this outcome. So I'm going to do what these experts who know how to achieve this goal are telling me what to do. And that it's a commitment in that I've made this decision. The decision is the commitment for the outcome. All the like everything that's needed, those are just the details. It's a part of the path of getting there. But none of it matters. Like none of the like. That's the thing about the podcast and the blog posts and the different groups out there, right? Some of them have great information, like phenomenal, but it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter if you have not decided you're going to do it. That decision is where then you surround yourself with people who are going to support you in doing that. The people who know how to do it, how to keep you accountable, how to motivate you. And instead we just stay where they are and and with the anticipation that this is what I want and I'll just continue to do this and maybe it will happen. And if not, well, I'm doing my best, doing what I want to do. Staying where I'm comfortable.
And we got to be honest with you about this, okay? It doesn't work. When you just decide like, well, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and hope for the best, it doesn't work. You're going to get the same result. Whatever you're doing right now, you're going to continue to get that same result forever. Now, if you're happy with that result, great.
Yeah.
But don't pretend that there's another result that you want because it's never going to happen.
Well, I like what you just said is that they've decided that they're going to do what they want to do. They actually, so in some ways, they actually have made a decision to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Versus deciding that this is where I'm going and I will do what is necessary.
Yeah. And so I just want to go back and unpack a little bit about what you shared, when we talked about our weight loss example. So number one, if you decide you want to lose 30 pounds, one of the very first things that you should think very seriously about is getting some professional help. Because all the things that Nona mentioned, accountability, maybe a group of other people going through the same thing, a strategy that works, that's proven. These are all the reasons why we reach out for help, right? Is because we know that the result, the losing of the pounds, is so much more likely with these factors in place than if I just do it by myself.
Yeah. Well, it makes me think like, I will live longer for my children. I will feel better when I go out and meet people. I will, wake up feeling refreshed. And to relate that to interior design business, I will work with amazing clients. Yep. I will be selective about my projects. I will have a team to do the things that I don't want to do so that I can do what I really love. I will be able to be at all my kids' events, or at least the ones I want to be at, or like, like that desire has to be greater and bigger than I'm just going to keep doing what I do because it's comfortable and just muscle through it and think that eventually I'm going to get to the other side.
Yeah. And so that's the thing is that for all those designers who are watching, if this resonates with you, this is the key. Okay. If you've been thinking about this, if you've been thinking my business is not working the way I want it to work, the only thing you have to decide at this point is that you're ready to actually go after the change.
Yes.
You're ready to make that change. You don't have to even know how. That's where experts come in, because they do it all day long. We've worked with dozens of designers to help them totally transform their businesses from stressful, unhappy, broke, going out of business to the total opposite: thriving, vacations, more time with their family, big projects, selection of who they want to work with, more time off, weekends back, dinner with the family,
driving over checks.
People driving checks over them, right?
Yeah, like thrilled to pay in advance. So grateful.
And what we just described, we're not going to name names, of course, but what we just described is one of our clients, actually, I can think of, who she went from just what I just described of all the struggle, to having people drive checks over to her house. The checks could go in the mail just as easily, but they're like, no. I insist on paying you immediately.
Yeah.
And what that shift means. That shift can happen for you too. But the first thing you got to do is make the decision. And then the second thing you got to do is just get some help. The way we help our clients, the first step is free. And that step is really for us to come up with a strategy with you to get you from where you are, because we got to know what's going on, right? What's not working in your practice right now, to then come up with a strategy to get to where you want to go. And we do this in a 45-minute call. We call it a breakthrough session. And what we do is we just talk about your practice. There's no judgment. If you were, rocking it in all levels, you wouldn't need to have a conversation with us. So don't be shy. Tell us the truth, what's going on. And what we'll do on that call is we guarantee you that we will come up with a strategy that will help you get out of the situation you are in. And then all you have to do is implement that strategy. You make the decision, you implement the strategy, and then you get the result. It's simple. It's not easy. It's simple. Making the decision is actually the hardest part, believe it or not. Just taking the first step, just deciding to lose the weight, just deciding to make your business actually work. That's the hardest part, because you got to let go of everything you've been doing up to this point that's gotten you in the position that you're not happy with.
Yeah.
So
it's some of it you get to keep, but others, it's growing, and to reach new levels, you got to do new things.
Yeah, but the amazing thing though is that it's all worked out. It's all been done before, whether it's by our clients or by other 6- and 7-figure and 8-figure designers out there. The roadmap is there.
Yeah.
You just have to pick up the map and actually look at it and say, okay, I'm going to Cincinnati. That's where I'm going. Here's how I'm going to get there. No, where can they go to book some time with us to have this discussion?
Absolutely. Go to breakthroughcall.us. And when you go to this website, what you'll see is the calendar will pop up. We've opened time on both of our calendars for the next 3 days. We're working, we're actively, we are meeting with clients and designers and helping them reach their goals. So what you'll see is that throughout these next few days that we've opened up, there will be different times that we've made sure to stay open just for you. So you select a day and a time. We ask for a few questions so that we can maximize our call together to better understand, get an idea of, again, where you are, where you want to go, what's working, what's not. And then we meet. So the first step, it's instead of thinking about all the overwhelming things that are necessary to really achieve your goals, make this decision to get support now and go to breakthroughcall.us.
Absolutely. And just remember that your clients are going through exactly the same process when they want to hire a designer. When someone wants to hire a designer, they're just overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. They don't have your vision, your capability of seeing what the end result is. So this is not a weird thing for you to do. This is actually a smart thing for you to do, because it's acknowledging it's exactly what your clients experience, which is that they have a problem that they can't solve on their own. They're overwhelmed. That's why they need you. Our job is to help you get as many of those people who you love working with as possible. And for us, this is what's fun. Just like for you, doing your whole house reno is so much fun and so exciting. Endless creativity. We get the same feeling. We love it. So we have a great time doing it. And like we say, you're going to have a strategy at the end of this call that you can take and implement, and start getting the kind of clients that you deserve, so that life is fun. And we're only on this earth for a short period, so we need to maximize the amount of time we spend with our loved ones. We need to enjoy our work. There is literally no reason in the world to have your own business and then suffer. That's a choice that you're making instead of not suffering. So just don't make that choice anymore. Just book a call with us and let's talk.
Absolutely. G. Norton, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, Nona. Now, don't forget to be on social media tomorrow, because it's National Social Media Day. So make sure you spend a little time on there. Unlike all the other days when we're never on social media, right, Nona? So
I'll find my way. I'll find my way.
Awesome. Well, listen, we want to say goodbye to everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the week. And again, remember, just do great work. And when you need help, outsource the struggle.
Yeah.
Don't get stuck doing the things that you can't or don't want to do. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your life. And there's people out there who would love to help you do this so much better, so that you can do what you love to do, make more money, take more time off, and just enjoy life.
Yeah. And really let your talent shine.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. So go do something beautiful, guys.
All right.
Bye.